Welcome back to Got a Game for You Summer Game Fest Edition. Ever finish a game that was so good it became your entire personality, but had no one to share it with? Well, we're that group of friends you immediately go to for sharing all the games that consume you, body and soul. Every summer, the gaming world comes together for Summer Game Fest for a full week of reveals, hands-on demos, and developer interviews that give us a peek at what's next. This year, Shelby and Meghan went all in. They played 18 game demos and sat down for 12 interviews to bring you the ones that stood out most. In our final part of SGF coverage, we're talking about Xbox. While they didn't have an official presence on site, they hosted an off-site activation. And I was actually working the event as an official Xbox employee. Today we're diving into Invincible vs. Grounded 2 and Keeper. And to close things out, we're joined by Lee Petty, creative director of Keeper at Double Fine. So grab a snack, pull up your wish list, and let's get into it. Hey, I made an appearance.
You waited so long to do that.
I needed to. It's the millennial pause.
Stop. Okay, go ahead.
You guys kept doing this throughout the whole video, so.
Shelby was doing it the entire time.
I'm here. Look. Hey, I'm part of this podcast too.
Well, welcome to the podcast, finally.
Nice of me to show up.
Nice of you to show up, you little corporate girly.
It was great seeing you.
Briefly.
It
was so quick.
Honestly, that whole weekend is always just like so packed.
It was a blur. I was so lucky to have Shelby with me because I normally do it on my own, and it's really hard to put out all the content. But Shelby was cameraman number 2.
Isn't she doing a fantastic job?
She did a pretty good job. Yeah, good job, Shelby. She crushed.
Let's talk about Xbox, which I work at. So disclaimer. Wee. But they had the showcase on Sunday. Announced a bunch of things. My personal favorite was a game called No Ghosts at the Grand.
Ooh. Okay.
You have to like renovate and decorate a hotel. But the hotel is haunted.
Stop. This sounds amazing.
It is so cool. But what got me? That trailer, they start singing in it.
The only one you can really trust is me.
It's basically a musical, okay?
Oh, never mind. I'm out.
You like musicals now, remember? Remember Beetlejuice? You really like that.
Beetlejuice is different.
And Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon's different.
Yeah, You decorate things during the day, and then at night, you go like basically ghost hunting. And there's like a mystery. You only have 30 days to find out, like solve everything to beat the game. Yeah, it was like a little blueprinty, you know what I mean? Like that time limit specifically
I was talking to Blumhouse about this, but cozy horror is such a genre.
It's so cool.
Yeah, because I sometimes want to play spooky like horror game, but I want it to be a little cozy. It's kind of like why people listen to like
the murder podcast and stuff like that. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah, the true crime.
Yes, it's that feeling.
Which
that
I
vibe.
do.
Wow, this game sounds amazing. Okay, I'm gonna
yes, definitely that. And then another indie beloved to me, Planet of Lana 2 was announced. I played the first one and it got me so emotional.
I don't even know what that game is.
You would love it.
Yeah?
You would. It gives you like kind of like the game Inside.
Yeah.
And kind of Ori-ish.
Ooh,
like it's really good. It's really good. So I'm so happy for the sequel there. And then of course another Plague Tale from the same universe.
No way.
Yeah. Which the first one, the little boy really annoyed me. The second one,
I feel like I played it watching you play it.
I complained the whole time about the little
boy
kid that you have to like tow around. The second one though blew me away. I was sobbing at the end.
Yes,
it was
I've
so
heard.
good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this new game that's like set in that universe. 2 games that you actually got a chance to play.
It's true.
One was Invincible vs.
Had enough yet?
No, Dad, not even close.
What if being the strongest superhero was the worst thing that ever happened to you? Invincible vs. throws you straight into the world of the Invincible comic and TV show, where power doesn't protect you, it endangers you. This is a 3-on-3 fighter built around the same breakneck brutality the series is famous for. Characters don't just take damage, they wear it. The more you fight, the bloodier and more wrecked your heroes become, just like in the show. Skybound brought in writers from the series to make sure every fighter feels true to who they are. Movesets match personalities, tag-ins feel like story beats, and the whole game has the raw edge that makes Invincible so unforgettable. It's the closest you can get to being inside one of the show's fight scenes and somehow walking out alive. Invincible Versus is coming in 2026 to Xbox Series X, S, PlayStation 5, and PC.
People don't know this about me, but I'm a big time fighty gamer. Like massive.
Yeah.
I love playing fighting games.
You're like good at them too.
I'm really good
What's
at them. Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive, that one.
Dead or Alive, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I'm like stupid good at those games. Like when it comes to the combos, do you remember that?
You somehow like
I
you go
almost-
to another plane of existence.
I
and lock
really
in.
do. Remember, I almost went up against Wayne Brady in
Oh,
that
yeah.
Xbox tournament.
Yep. That was for Mortal Kombat, right?
It was for Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I like it was like one health point in my my hand jammed up, and it
It's
was.
those double jointed thumbs.
It really is the double jointed thumbs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love fighting games, and this is something that you are going to be so excited for.
because you've watched the series, right?
Mhm. I sat down with the art director, which he knew who I was. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's
That's
February
so
17th."
cool.
Yeah, I know. He's like, "I wish we had more time." We were hanging out, and he was just painting like the details of the costuming and just like the backgrounds change as the fight progresses, which is
Ooh,
really
that's cool,
cool.
yeah.
Just like Invincible, everything
Yeah.
always escalates, so you can expect that. It's a whole brand new story with the writer of Invincible,
Oh,
which is
I
really
didn't know
really
that.
cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, from the comics. So they're really honoring that, honoring the show and all of the fans. And if you're not into fighting games, I really think this is something you're going to want to play regardless, just because it is detailed.
Yeah.
The more you fight, the bloodier your costumes get, and everything feels really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah, like the ultimates feel really, really nice.
Yeah.
The combos flow really great. You have, it's like 3v3, so you can change your characters in, tap them out.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It's a pretty awesome game.
Nice. I'm definitely gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, but the second game that you played, Grounded 2.
Breaking news. There's been an explosion at Brook Hollow Park. Chaos descended on a ceremony commemorating the 2-year anniversary of when 4 teenagers were miniaturized against their will and left to fight for their survival in the backyard of a deranged scientist.
It's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets survival horror. Imagine waking up one day the size of a Skittle. In Grounded 1, you play as one of 4 teens mysteriously shrunk by a shady biotech company called Ominen. You don't know why you're small or how to fix it, but you'll have to survive long enough to find answers. Grounded 2 takes everything the first game built and blows it wide open. The teens escape the backyard only to get pulled into a massive public park that's 3 times the size of what they just survived. Ominen is back. The science is weirder, and the bugs are bigger, smarter, and way more aggressive. There are more secrets, more chaos, and way more reasons to sprint in the opposite direction. And now, you're not just surviving. You're riding bugs into battle, piloting insect vehicles, unlocking advanced tech, and realizing just how deep Ominent's experiments go. We at Xbox hosted a special Grounded 2 event where we invited Meghan and a few others to try some bug-themed food, yes, with actual bugs, and play the game ahead of release. You can play Grounded 2's game preview now on Xbox Series X, S, and PC.
I had no idea they were making a second one, and I'm gonna say this wrong, but they built the first Grounded on an older Unreal Engine, and the reason why they did 2 is because they're like, well, we have to update the game anyways. We have to do it on the new engine.
Yeah.
There's so much more that they can do with it because they released a lot of like in-game updates, which is really really cool of them.
Yeah, it was like monthly at some point for Grounded 1.
Yeah, they went in and they said they learned a lot from that. And at this point, they're like, yeah, I think it's time we do a 2. We do a brand new game. It's still continuing the story, but
It's
on
like
a
set
different engine.
2 years after the first one, so you're playing as the same characters, right? The teens now.
Yeah, and a lot of new game mechanics. You can ride around on bugs.
Yeah,
which is
new
really cool.
buggies,
New
mounts.
buggies,
Which
yeah.
I love mounts in games. So yeah.
No, you could. It's really cool. Everything feels a little bit like it flows a little nicer. I love Grounded. It was a beefy game, and this one feels a little bit more like dialed in. Which I mean, that's you learn.
You
collect
want to
all
learn from the
data.
next. Yeah, exactly. And I heard it's 3 times larger the map,
Yeah,
which is wild.
They said they were able to do that because of the buggies. People can traverse and go a lot more places, so they had to make the map bigger in order to do that. In my demo, I screamed because there was like a moment where I was getting attacked by a mosquito. And, yeah, it was like a whole thing.
Oh,
I hate
no,
those freaking
yeah.
mosquitoes. Yeah, the bugs are they are very authentic and
Yeah.
real looking. Look really great Great Xbox games cooking up. Also, mixtape day one on Game Pass. It was announced last year, obviously, but I didn't know it was going to be day one on Xbox Game Pass. The gift that keeps on giving.
You played mixtape, right?
Girl, it's so good. We got to interview one of the producers too, and told us a lot about the game.
Yeah.
It plays like a movie. It's amazing.
I can't wait to play that.
I know. We missed you at Summer Game Fest, but you're holding down the fort. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say before I dive back into all of our interviews?
What if you, next year, you just, like, print out a cutout of me and bring me around? Or do you think you could add me in post to every single scene? Like, CGI me in somehow?
We ran out of budget.
Oh. And now back to your regularly programmed scheduling.
You said it wrong. Your regularly scheduled programming. You said it super stupid. We're leaving it. We're leaving it in.
What happens when a forgotten lighthouse wakes up and realizes it might be the only thing standing between the world and the dark? Keeper puts you in control of a long-forgotten lighthouse that suddenly comes to life on a ruined coastline, guided by a distant beacon and accompanied by a tiny seabird named Twig. You explore a surreal island that feels half post-apocalyptic and half living storybook. There's no dialogue and no text. Everything is told through animation, light, music, and the quiet bond forming between the lighthouse and its little companion. Your light is everything. You use it to reveal pathways, solve environmental puzzles, and push back a parasitic corruption called the Wither. The deeper you go, the more emotional and surreal the journey becomes. It's atmospheric, introspective, and full of that distinct Double Fine heart, where small moments hit surprisingly hard. Keeper actually holds a special place in my heart because it's one of the games that I led over on the Xbox creator side. And you might even see a familiar name in the credits. Now, Meghan and Shelby didn't get to demo Keeper, but once the game fully released, we actually did a whole gaming session on GGFY. Here's a bit of that session where we explored the opening and got a feel for the world.
We have come upon our first puzzle, I think. Which means a little light puzzle game.
I like that. We're big. We're brain.
We're big.
You know what? Never mind.
We're big. We're brain. We're gonna have to get that on t-shirts.
We're big.
We're big. We're brain.
And now we're joined by Lee Petty, creative director of Keeper at Double Fine, to talk all about Keeper, the ideas behind this world, and the kind of storytelling they want to explore with a lighthouse as the hero.
My name's Lee Petty, and I am a art director and project lead at Double Fine Productions in San Francisco, California, and the project leader and creative director of Keeper.
Lee, thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. So grateful to have you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
How are you feeling? The game, it's out now.
You know, it feels good, but releasing a game is always like, I always sort of joke about this weird like moments of ecstasy because you finish some big creative project, but also just like terror, right? Because you're putting yourself out there. You know, it's just like anything in art. It's like any project, you know, you want to communicate and express something to the world, but then you're also like, what if everyone hates it, you know?
Or what if they don't get it, right?
Yeah, right. But good. Like the game's been getting good reception. And I think more important than that for me is, and the team is just being able to watch people play it and seeing when someone gets moved or connects with some part of the game is super rewarding as a creator, just to see that.
I bet. And it is such a special and unique game. You definitely took a very different approach. The trailer really captivated me. And then when I sat down to play with Shelby and Lina, it seemed like every new area we went to and every new thing, I was noticing something different. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I had no idea that this is what this game was. The transitions and the camera movement in Keeper feel so cinematic. How did you and your team approach camera direction and map transitions to make the world feel like it's almost guiding the player? And also, it felt like I was watching a movie. I was like, is this a cutscene or am I playing? And I was playing.
Camera is definitely like a huge part of this game, and we're making kind of unconventional choices there. People are used to swinging the camera everywhere. That's like really great, but also people who do that miss stuff all the time. and it leads to this really aggressive form of player affordances where there's like a blinking sign, there's a waypoint, there's a mission pop up, and all those are just like a layer that for this experience really wasn't the vibe we were going for. We wanted a minimal HUD and no words in the game. We didn't have those devices to fall back on, and so that meant that we needed to really use the camera not only to kind of help guide the player and frame the important stuff, but also tell the story, tell the emotion of the given area. And, whether you're in a very compressed space or it kind of opens out to a beautiful field. We had a really nice solid pass on the camera composition and the way it would blend and transition from the very early block map layout of the level, because it affects the experience so much. It was really important to us.
The way that the transitions are so seamless when you go from a different area to another. The camera movements, it felt like a movie. Like sometimes you're like a dolly is following you and you're whooshing into another scene. Everything felt so smooth and nice. I was like, did they storyboard this? I wonder, because nothing ever felt disorienting. It felt very natural.
We certainly didn't do any storyboards and animatics like you might in a movie.
Yeah.
Because the player is solving puzzles and there is some branching and there are things. The camera, even though it's authored, it's still dynamic and follows the player into those side paths and everything. So you need to. There's really no way to feel that until you just can play it. And so that's why we got it in early. One of our designers who did a lot of camera work has a background in actual cinematography.
You could tell.
And so he had a lot of influence. And Kroger, our team, who set up a lot of the camera systems, had done a lot for Psychonauts 2 and was really familiar with all the different things that you could do with the camera. One of the other things in addition to this that you can't storyboard is camera changes based on what you're doing. So if you solve a step in a puzzle, the camera will change to reflect that. Or if you finished a puzzle area, the camera will actually blend differently than if you just walked through it and not solved it. So because it's trying to show you subtly, right? We don't want to say to the player, move on, because we want you to take your time, but we want to subtly say, okay, you're done here. You don't have to care about this. If you want to spend time, you can. But the way forward is over here.
Now that you say that, I'm like, oh man, you're right. The little subtle hints of okay, we've moved on. You opted out of traditional narration in Keeper, letting the environment and the movement tell the story instead. What made you choose that path, and what challenges came with guiding players without words?
So many. It's funny because I think it actually just started from, one of my primary inspirations for this game, which I've talked about a bit, was just, in the pandemic. And I spent even more time in nature, hiking and backpacking. And it was kind of a quiet time, even though the world was on fire, continues to be on fire. There was a moment of it had a quietness to it because there are fewer people out. It was kind of relaxing and kind of meditative, but also, wonder and also fear and also all these emotions. And I thought, for this game, it feels right to let those emotions be more emotional forward and have that communicated with atmosphere, color, music, sound, and not words. What I wanted to do is make a really unusual experience. And so by removing words, in some ways it made the just ability to get through the experience could be more challenging. And that's where the camera came from. I was like, well, we need that to guide the player. There's no way for you to fail this experience. So lean into the weirdness, drink in the world, try and be present in it. And we tried to design around that, and wordless was one part of that.
Yeah. When I did a little more research on you, I didn't know that the hiking and caving played a big part in this game. And after reading that, I was like, I can see it. I can totally see that. For players like me who love exploring every corner, Keeper feels built for curiosity. How did you balance player freedom with keeping the pacing and story flow intact? Because with a game like that, I was worried. I'm like, are we going to get stuck?
So if you think of a song or a movie, generally the pacing is very much controlled by the medium. When you're telling a story, let's say more movie-based story or a play or whatever, you have these sort of acts and beats and stuff, but you're like, I don't know how, someone could spend an hour in this small spaces exploring it and then not get to this part for another 2 weeks because they stop playing or that. And so that's, it's a really weird way, how much is how do you keep those themes and that connection going, not having strict control over the pace. For Keeper, one of the things that we wanted to do was have little things that were of let's call it no gameplay consequence, if you will, just for the player to explore. And I wanted you to be able to explore and find these characters and have fun, emoting to them or flashing the lights on them, or find these little hidden caves, find evidence of ancient civilizations, be able to use your light to create beauty, to grow flowers and trees. But I didn't want the player to feel like they had to tick them all off on the list. Oh, I only have 48. I got to get 50 so I can get the upgrade so I can go to the next area.
Yeah.
Because I think that really takes you out of, for this game, it really takes you out of that experience where after that feeling of being present in the world. And so you might come into a bigger puzzle area, and then outside of that bigger, you finish it, and then you're moving to the next area. You're like, okay, this is a negative space area, a chill area where we let the like world, the music and the views and the little tiny interactions come to the foreground for a while. And then you kind of, have another story beat or have another big puzzle area. It's kind of just how we sort of thought of that to kind of keep that, kind of like going up and down hills if you're mountain biking. It's like just a roll.
And it wasn't just like pushing us forward in the story. It felt like we had a little bit of freedom to be like, oh, this is cool. Really appreciated that. Shelby and Lina are big achievement hunters, so they would not let us pass anything without trying to make sure we explored it. So that was really fun to have that. You've created such distinct worlds across Stacking, Rat, and now Keeper. How did your design identity evolve into this project? And what did you want to do differently this time?
I know, this is the thing I love most about games is feeling like I can spend time in a world, right? Like some world that's not ours.
Yeah.
Not specifically ours. There's no other medium, I think, where you could legitimately say you're going to inhabit a lighthouse for several hours and you're going to and not have it be just a joke,
It was pretty wonky. I was like, what is happening? What are we doing?
And I love that. I love that you could have the point of view of something that maybe is ultimately very human, but initially like very alien or unusual or like, what? And I think that idea of identity and, I don't know, existential questioning, it kind of runs through all of my games. And a lot of the games are sort of about inhabiting either temporarily or changing in a way to kind of seeing the world, the space that you're in a little differently, or being able to, and you feel that in games by being able to navigate or have verbs or actions in that world that are different than before. So the character undergoes major changes throughout the story, and you feel them because like the basic, like there's some continuity, like you always have some form of light, but the way in which you just are able to move through the world is different. Towards the end of the game, you basically take all those pieces of yourself from all of your experiences and you put them together to make something new to finally achieve your goal. The lighthouse is kind of this alien in this world. Like it doesn't have any direct connections other than Twig, the seabird right at the start. And those two together, it's like friends in alien world, like helping each other achieve their goals is just another very like high level, simple part of the story.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's also really beautiful. It's interesting. I talk to different devs all the time about their games and what they're doing, and people who are at their 20, 25 year plus mark that speak about games so differently. And for you, you've done this for so long and you've been able to really tell such a beautiful story each time. And I think that says a lot about who you are as a person and a creative and a leader in your space. So thank you so much for the work that you do. And it's like inspiring to hear about. It really moved all of us when we played it and was a little treasure in 2025. So thank you for all your hard work.
Oh, thank you so much. That is really wonderful to hear, especially from another creator. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything you want to tell people before we wrap up?
Just that for those of you who've been playing, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to us and the team. And so many people reached out to say that they were moved by some part of the game, which, is like, it's super emotional for me to hear. For those of you who haven't played it, I would say, give it a chance. I think it's a different experience. It won't take you too long. Most people can play it in 6 to 8 hours, but our hope, the team's hope, is that it stays with you afterwards, and you periodically think about it, come back to it, share it with other people you care about.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keeper is the perfect mix of surreal and beautiful, and the perfect game to play over the holidays, if I do say so myself. You can play it now on Xbox Series X, S, and PC. And that wraps up our final part of Summer Game Fest coverage. A huge thanks to the teams behind Invincible vs. Grounded 2 and Keeper for letting us explore their worlds and get an early look at what they're creating. We've covered 18 demos, 12 interviews, and so many games shaping next year and beyond. Thanks for tuning in to Got a Game For You. Be sure to follow us on socials at Got a Game For You. Your comments, likes, and reviews help more than you know. And if you have a game for us, let us know.